Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Something's brewing in South Florida, and it's not the usual sunshine and optimism that Dolphins fans have gotten used to over the past couple of seasons. No, this time it's something heavier, something that hit the fan base like a lightning bolt straight out of a tropical storm. Rumors. And not just any rumors. We're talking about whispers that Tyreek Hill, the cheetah himself, might be on his way out of Miami. You heard that right. Tyreek Hill, the electric wide receiver who's been the engine behind so much of the Dolphins' offensive fireworks, could be leaving the team. And let me tell you the reaction. Absolutely nuclear. Let's rewind for a second. When Hill arrived in Miami, it was a statement of intent. The Dolphins weren't just trying to be relevant anymore. They wanted to contend. They were throwing their chips on the table, betting big on speed, explosiveness, and sheer firepower. And it worked. Hill's chemistry with Tua Tagovailoa lit up the league. Defenses struggled to contain him, and Dolphins fans felt like the team finally had a superstar capable of turning any play into a highlight reel. He wasn't just a receiver. He was a symbol that Miami had arrived. So now imagine waking up to rumors that he might be gone. It's not just losing a weapon. It's potentially unraveling the entire identity that this team has built over the last couple of seasons. The internet exploded with speculation. Was it contract related? Was there friction behind the scenes? A personality clash? A strategic shift in team philosophy? No one knew for sure, but everyone had an opinion, and none of them were calm. Some insiders suggested Hill might be exploring retirement earlier than expected. Others hinted at a surprise trade that could shake up the league. A few went further, spinning wild tales about a locker room divided or a fallout with the head coach Mike McDaniel. None of it confirmed, but that didn't stop the speculation. Sports talk shows latched on like piranhas. Twitter went into full meltdown mode, and every Dolphins-related subreddit became a digital war zone. And through it all, Hill stayed quiet, offering no real clarification, just a couple of cryptic tweets that only added fuel to the fire. Let's be clear here, this isn't your average off-season noise. This isn't a backup lineman requesting a trade or a special teams guy beefing with a coach. This is Tyreek Hill, one of the fastest, most dangerous players in the NFL. A guy who commands double coverage. A guy who tilts the field every time. He lines up. His presence changes game plans. Opposing coaches lose sleep over him. Losing him would be catastrophic. Not just for the Dolphins' offense, but for the entire structure of this team's ambitions. Now, if you're a Dolphins fan, you're probably swinging between denial and panic. And who can blame you? Just when it looked like Miami was building something special, just when it felt like they were on the verge of finally breaking through in a loaded AFC, you're telling me the centerpiece might walk away? It's not just disappointing, it's heartbreaking. Let's talk about the timing, because that's a huge part of why this rumor is hitting so hard. We're in that pre-draft period where every move matters, every whisper is analyzed under a microscope. If there's any truth to Hill wanting out, or if the front office is even entertaining the idea, then this changes everything. Miami's draft strategy, their free agency moves, their locker room dynamics. You don't just replace Tyreek Hill. There's no next man up when it comes to a talent like this. It would force the Dolphins to pivot, to rethink the entire blueprint. They've been following. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? But maybe, just maybe, there's something deeper going on here, something cultural. You see, the Dolphins have been trying to balance flash and substance ever since Hill arrived. The viral plays, the eye-popping numbers, the swagger, it's all been part of the brand. But success in the NFL doesn't just come from highlights. It comes from cohesion, from alignment, and maybe behind closed doors there's been tension about direction. Maybe Hill wants more control. Maybe the team is trying to shift toward a more balanced attack. Maybe egos are starting to clash. Of course, we can't ignore the possibility that this is all smoke or no fire. A strategic leak, a power play. Agents have been known to stir the pot when negotiating extensions. Teams sometimes float these rumors to gauge trade value or to send a message. But whether it's legit or not, the damage is done. The uncertainty is out there, and it's causing a ripple effect, not just across Miami, but across the league. Because if Hill is available, if there's even a sliver of truth to this, the phones will be ringing off the hook. You think teams like the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, yes, a reunion could be in play? Or even NFC contenders like the 49ers wouldn't at least make a call? You better believe they would. Hill is a game changer, and in a league where windows are short and margins are tight, a player like him could tip the balance between playoff hopes and Super Bowl dreams. But what about the Dolphins? If they lose Hill, where do they go from here? Sure, they've still got Jalen Waddle. They've got a creative offensive mind in McDaniel, and Tua has shown real flashes of brilliance. But that offense was built around Hill's unique skill set. Defenses had to account for him on every snap. His presence made everyone better, from the quarterback to the running backs to the tight ends. It's not just about the catches. It's about the fear factor. And without that, defenses can play Miami very differently. This also puts pressure on Tua, a lot of it. With Hill, he had one of the most explosive safety blankets in the league. Without him, everything gets harder. Routes take longer to develop. Windows get tighter. Protection has to hold up longer. And let's be honest, Tua's already had to deal with more scrutiny than most quarterbacks. Losing Hill could magnify every weakness, every misstep. It could force the Dolphins to rethink their commitment to him or accelerate their interest in drafting a new QB down the line. Then there's the locker room dynamic. Hill is not just a player. He's a personality, loud, confident, a leader in his own way. You remove that kind of voice, and you better have someone ready to fill the void. Leadership isn't something you just replace with stats. It's cultural. And whether you love or hate Hill's style, he brought a fire to the Dolphins that hadn't been seen in years. So what's the truth here? Is this just another off-season rumor destined to fade? Or are we witnessing the first tremors of a major earthquake in Miami's future? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This story isn't going away anytime soon. The Dolphins are at a crossroads, and how they respond could define their trajectory for years to come. Fans deserve clarity. The locker room needs stability. And the front office? Well, they've got some serious decisions to make, because when you gamble on greatness, you better be ready for the fallout if it walks out the door. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.